The actor Tim Curry has passed away at age 80. His longtime manager and friend Marsha Hurwitz confirmed that Curry died at his home in Los Angeles, but at this time, no cause of death has been disclosed. If you grew up watching horror, musicals, cartoons, or Christmas movies, Tim Curry was probably part of your childhood. He was Dr. Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Pennywise in the 1990 adaptation of Stephen King's It, Wadsworth in Clue, Rooster and Annie, and he was also in Home Alone 2. And even if you didn't recognize his face, you still knew his voice. Tim Curry was Nigel Thornberry in The Wild Thornberrys and won a Daytime Emmy for voicing Captain Hook in Peter Pan and the Pirates. Before Hollywood, Curry originated the role of Dr. Frankenfurter on the London stage in 1973. He then turned that character into a worldwide cult phenomenon when the Rocky Horror Picture Show was released in 1975. His career spanned more than 5 decades. He earned 3 Tony Award nominations, released 3 rock albums, and voiced countless characters. In 2012, Curry survived a major stroke that left him unable to walk, but he continued working, meeting fans, and making public appearances. In 2025, he released his memoir, Vagabond, and said, "I'm still showing up. I think that's what you have to do." Tim Curry was never just one character. He was an entire genre of his own. Definitely an incredibly versatile and talented person. Rest in peace.
So people are saying, what's the difference between Chris Watts and Lindsay Clancy when it comes to men versus women? I'll tell you. The difference is that for Chris Watts, who killed his pregnant wife and his 2 daughters, every single man wishes that they could be the one to swing the axe.
I'm going to play the clip here at the end of this 30-second video, but I want to know what the hell happened to that woman that saw a shapeshifter or an alien on that fucking commercial airline. You remember she kept saying, "That mother effer is not human." And she was literally crying and shaking. Supposedly, there's another eyewitness that saw this thing acting weird, talking strange, and just not acting like a human. So what I want to know is, was this all some kind of a weird skit, or was this legit? Did this woman see an alien or a shapeshifter? Did they ever get to the bottom of it? Somebody please help me here.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the fuck off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the fuck off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give 2 fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can fucking die with them or not.
So I'm a kindergarten teacher, and today was a really good day. I sat my class down and I said, show of hands, who wishes that they were born a different gender? And I would say about half of the kids raised their hands. So for the kids that didn't raise their hands, I said, okay, you guys are gonna have to go sit on the floor in the corner of the classroom over there and just be quiet. And so then what I did was I had everybody come up to the board and write what name they want to be called. And I said it has to be another name other than what you were already called. So like if the name Bob is on your birth certificate, you can't write Bob on the board. Like you have to be given a new name. So I had one kid come up and write Cookie. And I said, okay, Cookie, what are your pronouns? And Cookie was pretty confused. And I said, do you want to be called she, he, they, z, zer? And Cookie said, zer. And I said, okay, listen up class, Cookie just picked Zer's pronouns. Everybody give Zer a round of applause. And then everybody gave Zer a round of applause. Just really like showed me how important it is that we give youth the opportunity to identify themselves like this. And soon I plan on going to the school board and asking them to let me have legal name and gender changes in my classroom every Friday. So hopefully that goes well, but yeah, I just wanted to share.
What if I told you the story of Moses parting the Red Sea actually happened with pillars of fire on either side? And you may be thinking, I know, or you may be thinking, puh! But wait until you hear the evidence that 2 researchers found on either side of the Red Sea between Saudi Arabia and Egypt. So if you did have to part an ocean, you would probably pick the shallowest spot, so it's the easiest to walk. You wouldn't want to part it down here. So they went to this beach and that beach where it's pretty much described that should have been where the crossing happened. And if there was pillars of fire on either side, we know fire is hot. Would the fire have had any effect on the sand? It turns out the sand on either side of the Black Sea, in between those 2 points I just showed you, has interesting formations to where it's not really sand anymore, but kind of rock fused together. And when taking a chip out of it, you can see sand and other materials fused to it. Now, officially, this is just different geological formations, but this researcher pointed out that they also found chariot wheels. This is a golden plated chariot wheel along the path in between Egypt and Saudi Arabia, underneath the ocean, of course, and encrusted in coral. And the crazy part is, it said that they had found chariot wheels on this side and on this side. I don't know that they explored the entire distance. It is quite large. They didn't have the biggest budget, but they found fused sand and chariot wheels. Now, to me, these findings, plus the tilma of Guadalupe and the Shroud of Turin, and many other reasons, makes me believe that we should be taking this book, which is from 1890 something, the version I have. We should be taking it a lot more seriously. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
I need you to pay very close attention to this video. It is called the zenith. It is where the sun is exactly 90 degrees overhead. And this can only happen on the spring equinox when you are directly on the equator. And what you're observing right here is called the analemma. It is essentially the path of the sun over the year relative to your location. As you can see, the sun traverses by 23.4 degrees over to the Tropic of Cancer and over to the Tropic of Capricorn, as it traverses in between the two tropics and the equator. Now, this is what causes the seasons. According to the mainstream model, it is actually the globe and its axial tilt as it rotates around the sun that causes the seasons. But really just think about it. If the sun is 93 million miles away, do you really think that tiny axial tilt will cause it to be 100 degrees in the northern hemisphere during the summertime in Florida, and then extremely cold in some place in the southern hemisphere at the same time of the year? That tiny axial tilt, when it's already 93 million miles away? That doesn't make sense. It would make more sense that the sun is local and the light can only reach so far. But I made this video entirely for entertainment.
Henry Nowak was treated appallingly because he was white. He was stabbed to death by a non-white person who claimed racism was his justification. And the police did nothing about it apart from arrest him as he lay bleeding to death, whilst allowing the attacker to get away with it at the time. Now we have learned that the police officers, whilst the attacker was in custody and Henry Nowak lay dead, we find out that the police were still going through Henry's phone all the way back to when he was just 12 years old via his messages to try and find some racist terminology to justify the attack that led to his death. How disgusting is that? How disgusting are some of the police forces in the UK to do that? To be honest, who cares if he was? Because he was dead by that point. Why do you need to do that? Why do you need to completely undermine the life he lived up to that point for his family? Why didn't you focus on the attacker? Is it because he wasn't white? Is that why? Because that's what I think personally. We have a young boy who did nothing wrong. He was a good boy by all accounts. And he was stabbed to death with a ceremonial sword, which should be illegal, to be honest. You then have a racist murderer who is saying to the police, well, he was racist to me, he was racist to me. Who gives a shit if you've just stabbed him? You then also have his brother who was defending him and lying to the police, saying Henry was being racist when he wasn't. And then you have the attacker's mother who removed the sword from the scene of the crime. She is now in prison. Unfortunately, though, the attacker's brother got away with lying to the police, got away with perverting the course of justice. Why did he? Because justice in the UK is a joke. Now, if the roles were reversed and it was a black or brown boy that got stabbed, it was white people that did what these people did, all of them would have gone to prison. All of them. And the police would have stopped immediately to focus primarily on the attackers rather than trawling through years and years of text messages from a person that has just been stabbed to death just to hopefully find a little bit of racist content. Well, you didn't find any, did you? So you have egg on your face. You prioritised racism over a young, innocent boy being stabbed to death. Your police officers then ignored the fact he was stabbed to death, handcuffed him and allowed him to bleed out. And when he told you several times he had been stabbed, you said, I don't think you have, mate. That shows how callous you are. Those police officers involved, especially the male police officer, should be in prison too, because in my opinion, they are just as bad as the guy that murdered him in the first place, because they allowed it to happen and they did nothing. They failed in their duty to protect him, all because there was a notion that he could have been racist, which turned out to be an utter.
On a quiet Saturday, Bonita Adonis was home alone watching TV inside her kitchen. It wouldn't be long before her husband came back from the grocery store. According to her, it isn't often the case that she has the whole house to herself, especially considering that her relatives are staying over for a few months. But even they are away from home, leaving Bonita completely alone. However, that may not be entirely true, because based on what was captured on a security camera inside her kitchen, this happened. If it wasn't for the passing figure that briefly appeared, Bonita says that she would have written this off as nothing more than an issue with the stove. But seeing how it shook uncontrollably before lifting up and crashing down only seconds after the shadow makes her think this was anything but a typical appliance issue. Now obviously, stoves don't do this, but it's this fact alone that has convinced Bonita and her family that an unseen presence had done this. And perhaps, as they believe, it's a presence they're familiar with. As mentioned earlier, Bonita's relatives are staying over for a few months. They had gathered there after the recent passing of Bonita's grandmother, who passed away naturally under Bonita's care. Maybe, according to them, this might have been her spirit. But despite what they believe, I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. Just what exactly occurred here? Was a ghost responsible for this? Or had something else been at play here that could explain this? Let me know what you think. On a Wednesday afternoon, a man rushes to his basement to record something that just happened. The man states that he just heard footsteps on the staircase, but this was strange as no one had been in the basement. So he takes this video, hoping to capture what often happens when no one is down there. This is what was caught. Take a look.
Oh my... What are you doing there? Who are you?
I got you good.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, you got my heart good.
Out of nowhere, a toy ball seemingly throws itself at the man. Its sudden movement was enough to make him shut the door and stop the recording at once. What happened afterward is unknown, but based on the few details that were given, it's clear that the man and his family have kept away from this basement. Although lacking sufficient context, the video itself still holds up as being pretty creepy.
Hi, Ms. Nowitzki?
Yes.
I'm Adam Gillette with Accuracy Media. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We received a report that your department was still doing DEI work in defiance of state law, and that you merely just were changing the wording. Is that true?
I can't comment.
Have you ever said anything like that?
I can't comment.
So we have a video with you right here, and you said that you had to change the words because people are dumb.
You can't actually use those words because, you know, people are dumb. So, can't use the words? Oh, okay. Sorry. But no, that's not it. Like in writing stuff, like in course stuff, like okay, we can't actually use those words because you know people are dumb. Yeah. But yeah, we still teach all of that.
And you went on to explain that you were still continuing to do the DEI work. What people are dumb? This is you in the video, right?
I can't comment.
Is your department complying with the law, or are they subverting it by changing words? What would you say?
I can't comment.
No thoughts at all on this. What do you think about the taxpayers who don't like funding DEI work?
I can't comment.
Interesting. Do you think it puts your department in jeopardy of losing state or federal funds because you might be defying the state law?
I can't comment.
No thoughts on that at all? Do you have any message for the legislators who passed a law banning DEI and don't want that work at universities?
I can't comment.
You commented a lot in the video. I'd love to hear if this is correct or not, or if maybe you just misspoke and wanted to clarify a little bit.
I can't comment.
Now, most of your faculty are pretty progressive. Does that make it a welcoming environment for students who don't share those values?
I can't comment.
No thoughts at all on any of that?
I can't comment.
Okay, well, we'll check with some other staffers. Thank you very much. We received a couple comments and complaints from people who were telling us that the university was continuing to do DEI in defiance of state law. And some of our investigators came to the university and met with a number of individuals in the psychology department and other departments who explained that they just changed the wording and were continuing to do the exact same work. Do you have any comments or thoughts on that?
The university is fully compliant with House Bill 4 and all federal laws and policies and procedures with respect to that issue.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm concerned because, for example, Tamara Nowitzki in the psychology department was explaining that they just changed the words because people are dumb, is what.
Migrant blowing dump on the beach in Santa Monica. Third world behavior.
No.
And then she just buries it.
So you step on that sand and the sole of your foot is human shit and the heel is a used syringe. Santa Monica. Swimming out past the breakers.
She did that in a beach volleyball court. They're like just off the side of a beach volleyball. The ball's going to come rolling.
Who's got ball?
And you literally can't avoid shit and needles. And she just blows it out right there in front of everyone like a...
Up on the Walmart, and I'm in Lewisburg. It is always something popping off. Now, I don't know what's wrong with... Oh, my God! No, she need her ass whooped. Because I don't know if it's that her grandma. But, y'all, let me tell you something. I would take that little girl by her neck. What in the world is... She got to be on some medicine. It got to be something wrong with her. Y'all, do you see this? She made this mess, y'all, and they standing there letting her do it. And her grandma gonna have to pay for this. This girl is crazy. Do y'all see this? Oh my God! The last time I was here, a damn car came through the door, and now this little girl in here tearing up, and her grandparents let her do it. I would not hurt the boy. Oh my God, y'all. Baby, give me the permission. Give me the permission, baby, honey. I will knock that purple shirt off her. You heard me? Oh my God! Oh my God! Y'all better get. Oh my! Y'all better. Who do she belong to? Oh Lord! Oh Lord! Oh darling.
You need a mama to beat your ass. What you need? Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Where is her? Where is her parent, y'all? Y'all better get the authorities out here, boy. I would beat them.
Okay, hold on a second. In the book of Exodus, Moses was instructed by God to stand before a giant rock, split it open, and then water would spill out of it to give everyone water so they'd survive for a certain period of time. But surely if there's some giant rock cut in half somewhere near where it was biblically described, we'd probably see that. There'd be some evidence of it or something, right? Behold, the candidate for the Rock of Horeb. Well, this rock is in Saudi Arabia near Mount Sinai. And the puzzling thing about it, because there's lots of rock formations, they're strange, but notice the apparent erosion going on with the rocks in front of this stone cracked in half. By the way, for context of how big this thing is, there are people right here. Look how gigantic this is. And at a closer inspection, that does look quite eroded, despite it being one of the driest deserts in the world in Saudi Arabia. But what about Noah's Ark? Like, surely if this giant boat, you know, had all these animals and everything on it, that must be some evidence of it somewhere other than just written down, right? Behold, Mount Ararat in Turkey, which I'm going to let you guys go down this rabbit hole because I can't claim it, like, officially. This could just be some strange formation. But they did some interesting core samples and ground proximity radar. And let's just say this is a rabbit hole worth looking into. Mount Ararat, Turkey, which also has a sign in a nearby town that says Noah's Ark or Nuh's Ark, N-U-H's Ark. They also found a lot of altars and petroglyphs around this area, suggesting humans were nearby it for a little while. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow from.
There is something chilling about this one. This is Wendy Williams last week. For the first time she's been seen in public for 6 months. A camera catches her on the street, asks what she's going through, and she stops and says these 3 chilling words. And once you know what's going on behind them, it's hard to shake.
Hey Wendy. Hey Wendy, what do you wish people knew about what you're going through?
I want out.
Well, good luck. Hope it happens.
And here's why people can't let it go. She's been saying for years that she doesn't belong there. She's called it a prison. And it's not just her. It's been reported that a second neurologist examined her and disagreed with her diagnosis, keeping her under guardianship. Now look at the man who is escorting her. The second that she screams those words, his hand goes on the back of her, guiding her through the doors. The comment section and other platforms are completely divided, half saying he's just a facility aide doing his job, but thousands of others are calling him a handler, claiming she was rushed inside before she could have another word.
If you eat meat and you live in the United States, you might want to watch this video because there's a chance that the meat you're about to eat was imported from a foreign country. So the United States is getting ready to bring in a massive amount of foreign beef in an attempt to bring down the prices in the United States, but there's something very weird about this. So the Trump administration already agreed to bring in 80,000 tons of beef from Argentina per year to America, but earlier this year, China rejected the beef from Argentina because the authorities there reportedly detected chloramphenicol, which is an antibiotic prohibited for use in food-producing animals. Now, Argentina did dispute that finding, but on top of that, just this month, the USDA recalled nearly 30,000 pounds of beef from Argentina that was already in the United States because it wasn't presented for required import reinspection. But this is where it gets even more interesting. When Trump was asked about bringing in beef from Argentina, just listen to what he said.
The question is, what do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I happen to like the president of Argentina, I think he's trying to do the best he can.
So where are we at now? Well, the United States just announced a bigger plan. The United States could bring in up to 300,000 metric tons of foreign beef over just 90 days in an attempt to bring these prices down. As of right now, we still don't know which countries that it will actually be coming from. Trump was directly asked which countries it's going to come from, and he said there's a few, and it's going to be really high quality beef. This is going to bring meat prices down, but I just don't know how worth it it's going to be.
If your goals are constantly getting pushed back, this video is for you. This is the exact framework that completely changed how I view achieving my goals. Goals are great at providing direction you want to head in, but they only focus on the outcome, not the process. They don't ensure the discipline and the action. They don't remove the roadblocks or the friction that you face along the way. And the problem with just setting goals is both successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals. So just having goals can't be what differentiates winners from losers. So what's the actual secret? It's learning to create systems. As James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. Systems are essentially habits, processes, and a routine. Systems are iterative, meaning they're ongoing. They're not tied to a single fixed outcome. Systems are how you develop a lifelong relationship with positive habits that set you on the path to success. Your goals are the vision, but the systems are the bridge that carry you there. And the moment you worry about how long something's going to take, you've already set yourself up for failure because you're telling yourself that your hard work, your sacrifice, your discipline have an end date. They definitely do not. There is no end game. People fail at their goals because they focus on the outcome and not the systems. But even if you were to achieve the goal, without the system behind it, you won't be able to keep it. You cannot get certain things until you make yourself the type of person who can have those things. And you could be in the best shape, you could build the best business, you could build the best relationship. But if you neglect it, it will fall apart. And that's why lottery winners go broke, why people who get liposuction gain the weight right back. By skipping to the results, they missed out on all the character development necessary to maintain that. What you have is a byproduct of who you are, so it's understanding you're the only one who can make you into who you need to be. And you become who you need to be by creating systems that align with your goals. If you just focus on doing the things that make you 1% better each day over time, they'll eventually compound and you'll hit your
Parton, who helped fund the development of the Moderna vaccine, received her COVID-19 shot on Tuesday, getting what she called a dose of her own medicine.
Well, hey, it's me. I'm finally going to get my vaccine. I'm so excited. I've been waiting a while. I'm old enough to get it, and I'm smart enough to get it. So I'm very happy that I'm going to get my Moderna shot today. And I wanted to tell everybody, I think you should get out there and do it too. I even changed one of my songs to fit the occasion. It goes, vaccine, 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 vaccine. I'm begging of you, please don't hesitate. Vaccine, 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 vaccine. Because once you're dead, then that's a bit too late. So I just want to say to all of you cowards out there, don't be such a chicken squat. Get out there and get shot.
Rest in peace, Dolly Parton. She made this video back in October 2025. This is what people are saying. I just find it very interesting that she would say something like that, or someone would come up with rumors saying that she was no longer alive. She was loved by many. She has such an amazing career. Rest in peace to Dolly. Something's going on here, guys. I'm not sure why she would make a video like that, but I understand it because people were making up rumors saying that she was no longer here with us. This was like almost less than a year ago. This is what people are saying, that that video came out in October 2025. Something is going on here, guys. And it's wild that she's no longer here with us after me seeing that video. Now it's resurfacing. People are saying other things too that I don't believe. She passed away at the age of 80. She lived a pretty long life. You're here one day, you're gone the next, right? Rest in peace to Dolly. This is tragic. This is sad news. It's wild. But of course, guys, let me know what you think about this. Rest in peace to her. My condolences goes out to her family. I'm out.
Sunshine in the rain, would you look at that? The world is about to change, and I can feel it. I can feel something's coming. I can't prove it, but everything's really just moving too fast now, and nobody's willing to say it out loud, so I will.
I told you boys to pick up your clothes, and who left a wet towel on the bed? Swear to God, sometimes I feel like just going on strike. What would you all do if I went on strike, huh? What would you do? I'm talking to you. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go on strike, and you can all try living without me. You didn't think about that, huh? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go on strike.
Kids, we're free. We're finally free.
Wait, what are those things floating above the shoreline? At first, this looks like a strange image from somewhere far away, but this location is much closer than you might think. I opened Google Earth and started searching around San Francisco, California. Then I found this place, the Don Edwards San Francisco Bay National Wildlife Refuge. I switched to Street View, and suddenly I saw them again. Several dark silhouettes appeared above the shoreline, almost identical to the ones from the first image. Some look like they're floating in midair, while others seem to have strange shapes stretching downward. So what are we actually looking at? A camera glitch? Birds distorted by motion? Or something we still can't explain? Look closely and decide for yourself.
Some New York City school kids had a little mini cornfield and a street rat destroyed it.
Corn on the curb of NYC became corn in the trash can within minutes once this guy got his hands on it. Fox 5 obtained exclusive surveillance video from a business across the street that shows the vandal in the act.
It's so upsetting. I mean, who would do something like that? I mean, this is a kid's project. It's fun. It's not hurting anyone.
And he just destroyed it because
love of the game.
Someone had something and he didn't like that. But hopefully the kids learn about low trust society.
I don't think the teacher pivots to that lesson, though. I think the teacher goes, kids, something happened with the corn. And they don't teach them about street rats or the homeless problem or how the New York government has enabled the homelessness crisis.
And then we have another example of a school-type farm that got destroyed, a local farm. I think this is in Colorado.
You go to jail for this.
Someone was destroying a community garden here in Aurora, and police didn't respond for hours. I'm here at the Denver Urban Garden at 16th and Yosemite, talking to people who love planting here. A lot of people use this garden to supplement their food budget. On Saturday, they tell me they saw a man who appeared to be experiencing homelessness destroying their garden. It's all on video. He's picking up cinder blocks, slamming them down onto their beehives. He pulled up plants, he stripped corn. Meanwhile, they're calling Aurora police over and over again.
Back in the day in prime America, when something like this happened, normal local men would come together, beat the shit out of that guy. You rough him up, you pin him down, you tell him not to come back around to this area again. Then the cops come, you hand him off, he gets arrested, whatever. But the ideal leftist Democrat America, you're not allowed to do that. And then you call the police are defunded. They don't come for 3 hours. And you can't touch him. So now this homeless street rat who's destroying your crops and your garden, he's in control. He's not going to get in trouble. You can't stop him kind of society.
The next time you're heading to Chick-fil-A to get a drink, you may want to hold the ice. And why do I say that? Because a woman stopped at a Chick-fil-A to get her son a cup of ice. He didn't drink the cup of ice and left it in the car. When she went the next day and took the lid off of the cup of ice, she noticed something at the bottom of the cup. Have a look at this video for yourself. Listen.
I went to Chick-fil-A yesterday and I asked for a cup of ice for my son. He ended up not even eating the ice, right? So today, he got in the car, got the cup, and we were about to throw it out. He just so happened to take the top off. Y'all, look at the inside. What is that? Is that mold?
From this angle right here, it looks like a ring around the bottom of the cup. And giving it a closer look, it is mold at the bottom of that cup. And luckily for her, her child did not eat that ice that came out of that ice machine. And for those of you that are completely unaware, mold is very common inside of fast food ice machines. And that's all due to the lack of cleaning the machines out. And as you can see from this image right here, it appears to look like dirt, but it's not. It's actually mold. And these ice machines are very common to grow this type of mold due to the conditions. 1, of them not being cleaned properly. 2, all of the moisture. And 3, the darkness. And then you have residual organic matter and also airborne contaminants such as dust. So like I said, the next time you take a trip to a fast food restaurant and want to get that ice cold drink, you may want to hold the ice. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Oh, fuck. Expect blackouts. Like over the next few years, our grid cannot handle this. I was speaking to a source at Amazon. It was just crazy to hear. When they go in, they're looking at like defunct power plants that are nearby these data centers. And if they can't get the power they need from the local community, they just buy up the other power plants that were there and then they revitalize them. You're going to revitalize it and then the community will benefit. No. They're going to get all the power. So they're not giving any of this power back to the community. Then it won't have an effect on the community then, right? So then energy prices won't have gone up in the community. Oh, no. Amazon said absolutely the energy costs will go up in those communities. And they already have. People without data centers even in their backyard yet are seeing increases 12, 13, 14% just in prices. The people can expect to see their homes affected by this and
Juicebox people knew something was going to happen to the Titanic.
There are a few Jewish passengers, but not that many. And the reason actually is prejudice. But they do provide kosher food.
Now, this Juicebox podcaster felt the need to address it because the numbers just don't add up. Juicebox people were 0.02% of the passengers on board. At this point, the world knows they have all the wealth and they don't miss a show. They have who's ever the hottest pop star or celebrity at the moment freaking perform for their children at their bar mitzvahs. And this podcaster knows that. When he looked into it, he could not find a single good reason why the numbers would be this way. So he went to Old Faithful, anti-Semitism. And I'm not sure if the other guy's a Juicebox too, but he blurted out the perfect rebuttal for that. If they were so anti-Semitic, why was there a kosher kitchen on board? Out of over 2,000 passengers on board, there were maybe 69. And they admit that they exaggerate this number to the fullest, just checking to see if any name might be Juicebox, because they're praying nobody looks into this. If you want to be fooled and believe they're good people, fine. But regardless, people knew it was going down, and I could prove it. JP Morgan owned the company that built the ship. That was his fucking ship. He had a suite on board. Morgan canceled the day before. His reason, because he was feeling fatigued and stayed in France an extra day to go to a spa. Two huge fucking things with this. Reporters spotted him and took photos of him with his mistress smoking cigars. So you're not even in the spa. Number two, there was a full Turkish spa built on board the Titanic. Morgan died a year later, so you're gonna miss the crowning achievement of your life to chill with your mistress that you see all the time? Oh, that's not enough for you? At the very last second, he ordered the crew to take off all his prized possessions and artwork that he had on board. It was on the ship's cargo manifest, and he had them remove it. Milton Hershey of the Hershey chocolate checked for over $10,000 to have his suite on board. Okay, cool. Let me tell you something. He backed out of this voyage so freaking late and suspicious that newspapers reported he died in the sinking because they couldn't account for him. The two brothers that own Macy's. Now, I don't know why one sacrificed himself, but the other, the very last minute, guess where he went? Jerusalem. And had a spiritual experience the day he he's supposed to be on the ship, and good old fucking Macy man opened a soup kitchen in Jerusalem. Don't look over here. I'm doing great things.
Help me. My name is Jack. I'm a content creator too. Help me. And guess what? Among all days, I was just thinking about you yesterday, and I got to saw you. So I got a quick question for you, Kai Cenat. Help me.
Why was Kai telling that guy to help him? Something is going on here, dogs. Look how scared he looks. Shh, shut up! He doesn't know who to trust. Why did he tell that guy multiple times to help me? I'm telling you right now, guys. Something is going on with Kai, guys. And mind you, he was in Beverly Hills, California. And he was telling that random guy that wanted to interview him to help him. Something is going on here, guys, and this is what people are saying allegedly. Like I said, I wasn't there, but that's what it sounds like. Look at him, guys. He looks terrified. He looks like he's watching his back. Something is going on here, guys. And Kai didn't want to say what it was. Look at Rakai. They both look worried. Shh, shut up! It looks like he's seen something or someone is after him. Something is going on here, guys, with Kai. I'm not sure why he came out like that, looking scared, telling him to help me. He told that guy to help him multiple times. You heard it. Not just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. I'm not sure why Kai will be telling a random guy to help him. Something's going on here, guys, and I know nothing about it. Let me know if you know anything. I'm out.
So I told you Trump was lying about finding 300 tons of beef out there to import. I told you he was lying. So let's do a little quick math with me. This is old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. Do this math with me. If you take and make nothing but hamburger, we're not talking sirloins, we're not talking ribeyes, we're not talking ribs, we're not talking brisket, nothing. Nothing but hamburger. A head of cattle will yield about 500 pounds of hamburger. Yeah. So, 500 pounds of hamburger, that's 4 head per ton. Right? He said 300,000 tons. Okay, 300,000 times 4 is 1.2 million head of cattle. Find me the country that's got 1.2 million head of excess cattle that they can go ahead and process and send to the United States of America, on top of not what they've got in the system that's already being exported and all that. No, this is extra. 1.2 million extra pounds of cattle that they've got. And I will tell you, that country doesn't exist. Not even the United States of America. We do not have 1.2 million extra head of cattle and, standing around in the fields. We don't. So, where's that beef going to come from? I found it. Started looking at rejected beef. Yeah, there's about 300 tons of rejected beef sitting in South America right now. It's too poor quality to go to China. Yeah.
Why are you okay with this? China rejected 22 tons of Argentine beef in March for chloramphenicol. It's an antibiotic that's banned in most countries because it can shut down your bone marrow's ability to make blood cells. And when that happens, you could either bleed out internally because your blood can't clot anymore, or a normal infection might kill you because you have no white blood cells left to fight it. The administration quadrupled how much beef from that same country enters America. Mandatory country of origin labeling for beef was repealed in 2015. There's no federal law requiring your beef to stay where it came from. Ground beef can legally be blended, trim from different countries, mixed into one package with zero disclosure required. Restaurants aren't covered at all. Federal law names them specifically as exempt. This loophole survives administration after administration because it's invisible. There's no photo op villain, no single vote to blame, just a supply chain quietly rerouted through 5 different countries. Global meat corporations control about 80% of the market. And they've told regulators outright that they'd rather not label anything. Concentration plus invisibility is the business model. The American cattle herd just hit a 75-year low. The people it's actually crushing are the ranchers who can't compete with unlabeled imports, and the customers who will never know that they're the ones absorbing the risk. Apparently, they're okay with cows hopping board.
Comme prévu, l'Espagne remporte ce rituel maçonnique. Et c'est le numéro 7 qui inscrit le but. Exactement comme dans ce livre. Un but marqué par Torres, qui signifie en espagnol les tours. Les mêmes tours qu'on retrouve sur le drapeau et l'ancienne monnaie espagnole, à l'origine du dollar américain. Maintenant, regardez les visuels projetés derrière BTS. Des pièces de monnaie qui défilent. Les mots overload, dynamite, pendant qu'ils chantent mettre le feu et embraser la nuit. Et au même moment, on a l'Espagne qui brûle. Et juste après, Shakira et Burna Boy arrivent avec le même message. Depuis le début de la Coupe du Monde, des incendies se propagent pour évoquer l'effondrement du système monétaire. Justin Bieber lui est annoncé par ses initiales JB, comme pour Jacqueline et Boas, les deux piliers maçonniques. Et la veille, il portait un t-shirt Nouvel Ordre Mondial. Ensuite, on a la malle Louis Vuitton qui arrive, avec l'apparence d'un ornement maçonnique. Elle s'ouvre en deux, comme deux tours qui s'écartent. Déjà vu aux cérémonies de Los Angeles, avec au centre le trophée, symbole du nouveau système qui émerge après la destruction de l'ancien. iShowSpeed parle d'unité autour d'un ballon géant au-dessus de New York, comme dans Independence Day, parce que le ballon c'est l'esprit de ruche. Et pour finir, Tom Cruise vient nous parler du dernier chapitre, sur un ton à la guerre des mondes, où une menace force l'humanité à s'unir. Donc tout ça, c'est un méga rituel psychologique, une programmation de masse orchestrée pour préparer vos esprits au contrôle centralisé.
Australia, name one major right that a government gave you out of the goodness of their heart. Oh wait, because you can't. It never happened. Every major change in history came from public pressure, from people creating it. The tea tax, the fall of the Berlin Wall, women's rights to vote, they all came from people creating the public pressure that made it inevitable for governments to listen and act. Sit with that. We have to stop outsourcing. Everybody keeps asking, what is the solution to Australia's problems? The solution is Australians. The minute we all come together to demand better from our system and the mechanisms to intervene on government decisions, that's the moment we have genuine change installed into our constitution permanently. Think about that. We can keep repeating cycles, keep outsourcing to politicians, hoping they represent us, hoping they do the right thing, whilst leaving ourselves sitting in a system with zero mechanisms to intervene. Or we can fix it going forward, install the mechanisms ourselves to have a direct say on the trajectory of our country, a direct say on government decisions. What type of change would that create for our country if we had those tools? Direct democracy itself wasn't handed to the Swiss either. Again, they created the public pressure that made governments act and entrench it into their constitution. They sat in a representative democracy exactly like Australia does right now. Public pressure creates the leverage that we need to create genuine change in our country. I've created the community. Come join us.
Do you remember this woman? 3 years later, I think it's time to circle back and talk about one of the strangest, most viral moments on the internet.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the fuck off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the fuck off,
and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
This was Tiffany Gomez. She went instantly viral when she had a meltdown on a plane claiming that someone wasn't real.
And you can sit on this plane and you can fucking die with them or not. I'm not going to.
And of course, we all saw the famous TMZ clips and even the apology video. And then something started surfacing online. And that was everybody asking, is this the same woman?
No matter what, I just probably didn't need to make the scene that I made.
Right.
But I was getting off that plane, for sure.
Right, and you stand by that.
Hi everyone, it's me.
So let me ask you, knowing what we know now, with all the UFO coverage, with the secrets being spilled from the government, how do we feel about this now? Did she really see something? Or was it just an altercation with another passenger, as she later did state? Take a look at all three videos, and you tell me, same person? Or something else going on here?
I'm telling you, I'm getting the fuck off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the fuck off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can fucking die with them or not. I'm not going to.
Are curious what exactly you saw, because you know you alluded to what you saw, but like we just want to know, like, you know, what did you see?
I mean, thanks for asking that, but I have been told that I cannot comment on it right now.
I see.
I'm sorry.
What was the reason that you wanted to get off so bad?
Again, can't speak on that right now, but
Understood.
I was distressed and I was getting off the plane. No matter what, I just probably didn't need to make the scene that I made.
Right.
But I was getting off that plane, for sure.
Right. And
Hi everyone, it's me, Tiffany Gomez, probably better known as the Crazy Plane Lady, which is completely warranted. As you know, I have been unwilling to speak on the viral video, but I do.
The Star of David, where does that symbol come from?
It's never written explicitly in the Bible itself.
Is it in the Talmud? Perhaps. Is there a passage in the Bible about that or no?
No.
Okay. So you're not really sure exactly where that comes from?
No. You got me.
Is it nobody knows,
Yeah,
huh?
I don't know. I'm not, yeah.
Because I know it's called the Star of David.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with David?
No, I don't think so. There must be somewhere. I do not remember exactly what the association was.
Okay. I believe that what they call the Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan. Because when you study the Bible, you'll see that when they worshipped other gods, the Bible talks about them carrying the banner of the star of their god Remphan.
You rejected the God of the Bible. You took up for yourself the star, that's the sixth one, the star, of your God, called Remphan or Kiyun. All these were names for Moloch, the great Baal, the great fire god, who was the devil.
Beelzebub.
That's right, Beelzebub. And they were shocked about this. Now, who is this star god? If they only read the Old Testament, they would know this. In Amos, God said, you have taken up the star, and you've made me furious by doing that. And you have actually sacrificed your own children to the star god through the fires. They sacrificed their own children, the Jews did, to the star god.
When they worshipped a false god, they had the Star of Remphan as an icon and as a symbol. We never see a Star of David in Scripture, but the star of the false god Remphan. And so we know today that they are not worshiping the true God, because the Bible says, he that denieth the Son, the same hath not the Father. But he that acknowledgeth the Son hath the Father also. If the Jews do not believe on the Son, the Bible says they don't have the Father. So who do they have? Somebody else, a false god. Therefore, they're not worshiping the same God that we worship. Some people will say, oh, they worship God the Father, they just don't acknowledge Jesus. But the Bible teaches that it's impossible to worship the Father if you don't acknowledge the Son.
You get back to the Masonic fraternity of Freemasonry.
Yeah.
Their great symbol is G. You'll look at the star on the compass, which is a stylized Star of David. In fact, they have the entire Star of David in many Masonic temples. Why is that? Masonry is a study of Judaism and of the Kabbalah.
The Jewish Tribune newspaper, on October 28, 1927, stated, "Freemasonry is based on Judaism. Eliminate the teachings of Judaism from the Masonic ritual, and what is left?"
Albert Pike said in his book Morals and Dogma that the Kabbalah is the very basis. Without the Kabbalah, we would not have the 33 rituals of the Masonic Lodge. But the god they worship, the great architect, is Moloch, the star god.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha.
Three weeks ago, a mass border crossing brought approximately 80,000 migrants into Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta. The majority of those who crossed have since returned voluntarily, but thousands remain stranded in precarious conditions, living in makeshift camps as they await an opportunity to continue their journey to Europe. Prime Minister Andy Burnham has proposed a plan to bring up to 4,000 of the remaining migrants to the United Kingdom, with the first arrivals potentially expected as early as the first week of September. Burnham has previously described the situation in Ceuta as a humanitarian crisis requiring an urgent response, adding that Britain stands ready to assist. Under the proposal, the migrants would be housed in hotels in London, which the government has designated as secure spaces for asylum seekers.
It is about creating secure space and not have the HMO issues that you were talking about earlier.
The plan comes amid growing tensions in Ceuta. On August 16th, hundreds of migrants gathered in the enclave to protest, demanding asylum. The demonstration followed renewed calls on social media urging further mass crossings into Ceuta, sparking concerns among local authorities of a potential second surge.
Okay, well, Michael, do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Mm-hmm.
Mothers? Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
Well,
it's just interesting.
I prefer to use precise language.
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, you know, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then I
try to be moral when I can, but I...
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language.
To include
and
who?
It seems to include people who don't, identify as women but can become pregnant.
So, like a person who's born a woman and then identifies as a man and is pregnant.
Yeah.
I identify as being correct and more correct than you on this issue. And I would just ask that you accept and affirm my identity.
So could the individuals supporting Lindsay Clancy have it used against them in a court of law? And why do I say that? Because some lawyers are now speaking out, claiming that they've been contacted by individuals representing fathers that are in custody battles against mothers. And if you're unfamiliar with who Lindsay Clancy is, she's right there, and she's currently on trial right now for allegedly taking the lives of her 3 children. And the term is being used because there hasn't been a jury verdict as of yet. And her defense claim is the fact that she has a severe mental illness, which is outlined right above, right there, called postpartum psychosis. And the argument is basically that she did it, but because of her mental state, she should not and cannot be charged with the crime. So now that you're familiar with who she is and what she's on trial for, there are now a group of moms supporting Lindsay Clancy. And the movement that they started is called Me Too Lindsay. And it's basically to defend Lindsay Clancy. And the moms are basically saying that they went through the same exact thing that Lindsay Clancy is currently going through. And that's where the lawyers are coming in, where husbands, fathers are contacting attorneys saying that they should have full custody of their children because their wives or girlfriends are supporting Lindsay Clancy. Have a listen to this for yourself. Read the question.
100%. I've already been consulting with some men in custody cases where their baby mama has been doing the solidarity hold a heart thing with the Lindsay Clancy stuff, and he's like, hey, this woman's got all kinds of former depressive issues, she's had self-harm issues, this now is evidence and validation that I have of that fact. Concern based upon, prior allegations with no evidence, but allegations of hitting the kids. And so, yeah, we're going to go and swing for the fences, and we're going to try to strip this woman from having visitation rights. I want to be able to have a forensic psychiatrist interview this woman, just see just how wackadoodle she is.
And as you just heard from that attorney, they are going to swing for the fences in that custody case that was in question in that video. And they're going to most likely pull anything, TikToks, Instagram, any type of video support for Lindsay Clancy and possibly use it against those individuals in their own custody cases. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's not a scientific, objective fact yet.
It is. By molecular biology's criterion for determining life, whether something is alive or not, a zygote from the moment of fertilization meets all of the criterion. It has to do with cellular production. They have homostasis. They respond to external stimuli.
A zygote is a single cell, Diva.
Yes,
It hasn't even been implanted in the womb
But it
yet.
knows how to implant without anything
No, baby, it could still be ectopic. It doesn't know how to implant.
And do you know that
they get stuck to the fallopian tubes all the time?
May I just finish my sentence? And
Sure.
the floor is yours. Do you know that at the moment of fertilization, everything is ultimately established, from its biological sex to its hair color, to its eye color, to its height, to even the fingerprint that it's going to have. It is not potential life. It is life with potential. And a woman has the choice to not engage in intercourse, but she does not have the choice to murder her child because it is inconvenient to her.
Yeah, because I'm also looking at the impacts of what pro-life legislation has done to women, and I don't fuck with it.
You have every right to not believe in God, but you do not have the right to act as God and decide who lives.
Breaking news, actress Hayden Panettiere found in cardiac arrest before she died. That's according to the Greenville County Coroner in South Carolina. In a press release.
I was struggling with mental health and anxiety and the postpartum.
The star was overcome with postpartum depression after the birth of her daughter in 2014. She says the loneliness she...
Don't just clean, deep clean and invigorate your skin. New Neutrogena Deep Clean Invigorating Scrub. If your moisturizer leaves an oily finish behind, imagine what it's doing to your pores.
Neutrogena is recalling some popular makeup wipes. Neutrogena recalling it.
Johnson & Johnson recalling its sunscreens after traces of a cancer-causing agent.
So when I got that call that Neutrogena wanted to fire me over that, and my representative at the time said, that's illegal. You can't do that. And even though
Was the quiet part about flock cameras said out loud? And why do I say that? Because U.S. Attorney John Sarcone out of New York gave a speech in regards to flock cameras. And have a listen to what he said.
If you don't have flock cameras,
Listen.
How are law enforcement going to detect and see somebody walking around possibly looking to blow up your state capitol or commit terrorist acts? If you're not doing anything wrong, you're not committing any crimes, what do you care?
So you heard what he just said. If you don't have flock cameras, how is law enforcement supposed to see somebody walking around that possibly might be there to commit a crime? And if you think about it, these are supposed to be license plate readers. So technically walking around does not require a license plate. So did he slowly admit the alleged plot for flock cameras? So I guess my question to you is, was that an alleged omission of a surveillance state to come? Or are we already in a surveillance state? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Wow. Rest in peace, Tim Curry. He passed away at the age of 80, guys. This is wild. This guy was an amazing actor. I remember seeing him in multiple movies. You know, one day you're here, the next day you're gone, guys. So just cherish life for what it is and be grateful that you're still here alive to see another day. It seems like him and Dolly passed away at the age of 80. This is what people are saying. I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more concerned about us losing an amazing actor that's been putting in work for a long time. If I'm not mistaken, he played in the Home Alone movie, right? I remember that movie. That was my favorite movie. This guy was an amazing actor, man. I'm telling you, I can't believe that we're losing so many people this year, 2026. I don't know what to expect next, guys, but a lot is going on out here. He was going through a lot, but he lived a long life. Rest in peace to Tim Curry. You know, it's sad, man. You know, we remember these people when we were young, and then we remember them when we get older, when we hear about news like this. My condolences goes out to him and his family. This is wild, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what movies you remember him from. This guy was a good dude. Let me know.
Watch this.
Thank you so much for giving me a chance to win a VMA award.
Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Kanye West took the biggest risk of his career that night, and nobody understood why until now. On September 13th, 2009, at the MTV Video Music Awards, Taylor Swift was 19 years old and had just made history by becoming the first country artist to win a VMA. She beat Beyonce in the Best Female Video category, and that's when everything changed. Taylor walked onto the stage to give her speech, and at no point did she plan to mention Beyonce. Today, that might seem insignificant, but when you understand how these ceremonies work, it was the biggest mistake she could have made. Because there's something that repeats itself every year at these events. Celebrities thank Beyonce for no logical reason, as if it's an obligation, as if not doing it could have consequences, and Taylor wasn't going to do it that night. That was the exact moment Kanye walked onto the stage and took the microphone from her. The entire world hated him for it. Everyone thought he had ruined her moment, but in reality, Kanye knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what would happen to Taylor if she finished that speech without mentioning Beyonce, and he chose to take the hit in her place. Kanye sacrificed his reputation that night to protect a future superstar who didn't even know what she was stepping into, and the price he paid for it can still be seen today. Everything that happened to Kanye afterward, the destruction of his image, the attacks, the isolation, it all started on that very...
How is this even possible? Dolly Parton just passed away, and all of a sudden, the first tropical storm of the season's name is going to be Dolly, and they're tracking it right now. Oh, I'm sorry, the next one, the one on the list, the one they're tracking right now. What is the probability of this right here? And it gets even crazier, but hold on. The mathematic possibility of all that coming together is 1 in probably 1 trillion. They say that these names are randomly generated, just picking out of random. And the exact day she dies, all of a sudden they're tracking Dolly. And then of course we have the lunar eclipse in just a few days, and the last eclipse that we just had, Hayden Panettiere passed away. Again, what is the possibility? Things like this just prove that simulation theory in itself is accurate. I mean, everything follows terms of frequency. Numbers, colors, or for everything is frequency. Which is why the cults use gematria through divination by demons and higher realms to tell you what's going to happen in the future. That's why the music videos and the movies and TV always shows the future. It's not because, you know, they're just some elaborate super planners. No, it's because the demons are infiltrating the thoughts and telling them what to write down. Hence, this is why there's a throne room in the major label studios everywhere. Also, this is why so many of the artists have another form, or Rain Man, a Sasha Fierce, because they're opening up their body, much like 32nd to 33rd degree, opening their body to be possessed by a devil to bring forth their will on the earth.
Argentinians are not backing down. Tens of thousands are still taking to the streets, protesting the illegal sale of Patagonia to their Zionist overlords. Argentinian President Javier Milei is using his secret police to kick out his own citizens so he can hand it over to the Zionists, who are starting fires in the Patagonia to buy back the land for pennies on the dollar. They're doing this exact same thing in Greece right now, where an Israeli set fire to 30,000 hectares of Grecian land to make way for the new Israeli resort built on the very same land. I wonder who Greece's leaders really serve. Oh, shocker. Just like in the US, just like in Albania, and in Argentina. Huh. The irony in all this is Javier Milei and Netanyahu are Polish cousins, and they're not even Jewish. But guys, there's still hope for America, right? It's not like our presidents all serve the same Oh, never mind.
I decided to release Used to Be Young on August 25th because this particular date historically has been important to me personally and in my career.
She decided to release that song on August 25th, right? Not only that, guys, Dolly passed away on August 25th, right, guys? Not only that, guys, Miley Cyrus' dad, Billy Ray Cyrus' birthday is on August 25th. Something is going on here, guys. People are talking about it. I don't know why. It's just happened to be, a coincidence that all of these birthdays and people passing away and songs that are being done on certain days are all happen to be on like the certain day, same day. I mean, everything seems okay, right? Shh, shut up! Listen, this is what people are saying. Now let's not forget, this is her goddaughter, right? This is what people are saying. I'm not sure what's going on over there. Rest in peace, Dolly, because, this is tragic. She still has some years in her. She still was getting around. She was very, very active for her age. But of course, guys, entertainment purposes only. I don't know. I'm just saying what people are saying. Something's going on here, guys. I'm not here to figure nothing out. There's nothing to figure out. Rest in peace to Dolly. She lived an amazing life. I really don't know anything. You let me know if you know anything. I'm out.
Y'all, this video from a psych ward is creepy as fuck. Now, I don't know if I would have the guts to work in a psychiatric ward, much less work at one on third shift, but that's what this TikToker does. One night she was working third shift and she noticed in the security mirror above her door that there was somebody standing in the doorway. But lo and behold, she's sitting right there and there is absolutely nobody standing there. And you can clearly see a solid black figure standing in the doorway. Now you can see the woman in the mirror reflection too, waving her hand. Now, obviously, she's creeped out because she's worked here a while and she says she sees all kinds of paranormal stuff, but this is the first time she's ever caught anything on camera. Now, with it being in a psych ward, that would really freak me out because some of those people coming in there, they've got some demons with them. Like, not literally, but mentally, they are fighting their own demons. These people are in there suffering, so the energy that they're giving off has to manifest something that is absolutely terrifying. And unfortunately for this particular person, they get to see it standing directly in front of them.
People always ask me how I stay so youthful. I tell them I eat well, get plenty of rest, and every third Sunday I drink the blood of a virgin. And these days, they're getting harder and harder to find.
Father converted, and let's say he has a 15-year-old daughter that didn't convert. She's not allowed to ever sleep over at his house unless he's married, there's a wife, and this young girl sleeping in a different room, and the wife is always home. He's never allowed to be alone with his own daughter, biological daughter. It's not allowed. She's considered 100% a goya that's not related to her, even though she's his biological daughter. The Rambam paskins l'halacha that according to the Torah, if a father, not just a brother and a sister, that's needless to say, but if a father and a daughter converts, father's, let's say, 40 years old, Christian, Catholic, whatever, decides to convert to Judaism. His daughter, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, she also wants to convert. According to the Torah, they're allowed, after they convert, they're allowed to marry each other. According to the Torah. The sages instituted a ruling that they're not allowed, but according to the actual Torah, they're allowed to marry each other. Why? Because once they convert, they're two completely different people. They're strangers to each other. They're strangers to each other. They're allowed to marry each other. Brother and sister are allowed to marry each other. Now, the sages instituted not to do it because they knew that the world would not understand it. So the only times that there is an exception to this is if they move to a place where no one knows them. But even then it's a problem. Even then it's a problem, and that's where the sages instituted. But I can tell you that there have been exceptions. Yes, and I know some people, oh, it's disgusting, it's incest, I understand what you're saying, I get you. You're thinking from a secular mind. I'm talking about Torah here. Torah is not supposed to agree with your secular mind.
Footage you're about to watch is not AI. This is real life. What you're watching is one of the worst flash floods to hit the Himalayan region in recent years. 98 people have now been confirmed dead after these floods tore through the China-Nepal border, and hundreds of tourists are reportedly still missing. According to the New York Post, 47 Americans are among those currently unaccounted for, while a total of 391 tourists have reportedly been listed as missing, and the destruction is just massive. At least 19 bridges have reportedly been completely wiped out, cutting off communities and making rescue efforts even more difficult. But what caused this disaster is almost unbelievable. Investigators believe a massive chunk of ice suddenly snapped off a glacier high in the mountains. According to the New York Times, the piece of ice was roughly 2,000 feet wide, broke off at an altitude of about 17,000 feet. It then dropped nearly 4,000 feet down the mountain, and that enormous collapse may have triggered a massive surge of water, ice, and debris that came crashing through communities near the China-Nepal border. There are hundreds of clips being posted online, and each one is just really hard to watch. I'm gonna keep you guys updated as we get more information, but just keep Nepal in your...
So the Pope is making headlines because he came out a few days ago and said that all religions are a path to God. True Christians know that this is a lie from the pits of hell, and the deception is very real right now. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you do not know Jesus, you do not know God. Salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. Revelation 17 talks directly about this one world religion system that we will see during the tribulation. And it's necessary that it gets set up now, because when the Antichrist comes in, he will demand that the entire world worship him alone as God. And that's what we're seeing being set up right now. You know, they have to set up the puzzle pieces for the tribulation. So when we talk about the fact that it's the end days, there are significant things that we are seeing that are being set up that will usher in this new world, this one world system of the tribulation. I would also like to know why the auditorium at the Vatican resembles a snake, or why they have this demonic depiction of Christ's resurrection, which when mirrored looks like that. God specifically tells us not to call anybody on earth Father, and what does the entire world call the Pope? And sadly, this is not the first time he has said something like this. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Do not believe the deception that is out there. I do not care who is saying it.
Every few months, this song is circulated online, and millions of people swear they hear the darkest phrases hidden in the track. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Billy's official explanation has always been that the black tears and the aesthetic dark imagery come from her sleep paralysis and night terrors. People in the comments keep asking the same questions. Why do so many young pop stars end up taking this dark aesthetic? This is where the backmasking comes in. Some claim that your subconscious mind decodes backwards audio forwards, and audio experts say your brain hears exactly what you want to hear. Close your eyes and listen to that one more time, and don't look at the transcript. What do you actually hear? Let me know your thoughts below.
This right here might have some people questioning everything that they've been taught, because long before Christianity became what we know now, ancient civilization was already using the imagery of what we know as Jesus. Ancient Egypt religion had Horus, the divine son of Isis and Osiris, and you could find old images of Isis holding baby Horus the same way Mary was holding baby Jesus. Even the halo seen constantly behind Jesus was not originally Christianity. Similar symbols were being placed behind gods and rulers centuries before Christianity. Now, people online take it even further, claiming that Horus had 12 disciples, crucified and resurrected just like Jesus. But historians say those specific claims don't actually appear in ancient Egyptian texts, so maybe Jesus wasn't copied from Egypt. But why does some of the imagery feel so familiar? Coincidence? Cultural influence? Or is there more to the story that the rest of us were never taught? Let me know what you think.
So everything you see within Vatican, like the Pope, what he has, staff that he holds, everything is literally copied from ancient Egypt. It's all copied from ancient.
TikTok detectives need to stop.
And what is your date of birth?
June 15th, 1988.
He did it. Patrick Clancy did it, and you will never convince me otherwise. This is his partial birth chart. I do not have his birth time, so I cannot say what his rising sign is.
The Lindsay Clancy case, in which a woman is being tried for killing her 3 children, has seen an explosion of TikTok followings and analysis in which millions of people seem to be divining whether or not she did it.
Leos don't kill. Geminis do. Leos don't kill their cubs. Nope, not buying it. A lioness would never kill her cub.
Much of this appears to be speculation, astrology, body language analysis, and simply going by vibes, which has made it all a huge media circus. There's so much misinformation out there that the details seem to be getting muddied by the minute, and some say Clancy wasn't responsible at all. During the trial, hundreds of people have turned up outside the courtroom in solidarity with Lindsay Clancy, as they appear to be certain that she needs their support.
We're here to send one message, and that message is that it should not take tragedy for people to start paying attention to mental health.
Reports of the crowd indicate it's mostly women with a few men sprinkled in, and at the end of the rally, they held hands and all said the Lord's Prayer, so it's a pretty hectic set of demographics here. The main issue they're speaking up against is the fact that Clancy allegedly had extreme mental health issues, including bipolar disorder, which worsened as a result of postpartum psychosis. This, coupled with the high-profile nature of the case, has ballooned it out into way more than just an open and shut murder. It's now become an issue of women's health, making it a societal issue. The conflict comes from the fact that Clancy killed her kids and her supporters are trying to advocate for help for mothers so this kind of thing never happens again.
Professionally, it hits me, and personally, it hits me. With mental health, we've done a really bad job of recognizing that just because somebody says that they're doing okay, doesn't mean that they're doing okay.
However, the fact that she has supporters at all is what is confusing viewers.
How am I seeing videos like this go viral? Women, you guys don't actually want to kill your kids, right? What's going on?
These supporters also appear to have invested heavily into the case to the point of obsession, hence the term TikTok detective being applied to it. Sometimes these social media sleuths can be helpful, similar to the ways in which TikTok detectives or even social media influencers could help solve crimes. Famously, Your Own Backyard's host, Chris Lambert, helped solve the murder of a 19-year-old Kristen Smart in 1996 and found her killer. Sometimes the TikTok detectives can actively get in the way, as it seems a former psychiatric hospital employee by the name of Emily Thorndike has released a clip weighing in on the case.
I'm a Massachusetts social worker, and I also worked on the exact inpatient unit at McLean for nearly 8 years that Lindsay Clancy was a patient at. Very important, I was not there when she was there, but I literally worked there for 8 years. We need to correct the misinformation that this prosecutor is saying about McLean and what the stay there is like. So I'm going to break down everything for you and tell you the truth.
Her clip has over 6 million views and claims the hospital where Clancy was admitted was understaffed and at fault. And whilst Clancy's lawyer asked her to testify in court, the judge ruled that she could not because she didn't actually work there whilst Clancy was admitted, so she had no way of knowing whether it was understaffed at the time or not. There seems to be a running stereotype that white women in particular are attracted to true crime and are trying to solve it themselves, often managing to get in the way of actual police investigations. I wouldn't say this is 100% accurate, as it seems people from all walks of life enjoy getting into legal issues and crimes committed across the world. The point is that true crime has made one of the horrors of society a point of entertainment, and perhaps these people are subconsciously treating Lindsay Clancy's trial the same way, expecting there to be some sort of plot twist revealing that she didn't do it. Plus, the fact that the trials are being live-streamed are essentially making them entertainment for the masses, just as the Amber Heard v Johnny Depp ones did back in 2022. Essentially, the Lindsay Clancy case has attracted the attention of TikTok detectives, as the case continues to spiral out into more than just an open and shut murder trial. It is now a speculative issue that encompasses women's health and a parasocial relationship with online audiences. See you next time on Lessons in Internet Culture.
Please tell me you've seen the security footage from this person's garage. So these people have a security camera in their garage pointing out the garage door because they had their cars parked outside of the garage while they worked on it. Now it's obviously at night. This is a night vision camera. We'll see what looks like some sort of light shoot down out of the sky. Now just moments later, you'll actually see what looks like an apparition of something go through the truck and then go through the car and disappear. The light that falls from the sky and the apparition that appears are the same color, the same look, and I believe that they're related. The weird part about this is whatever this mist is doesn't look human. It almost looks like something else. Now, this video went absolutely viral online with people saying that it's some sort of alien, a UFO, some sort of alien probe, while others believe that it could possibly be a spirit or a goat. What do you guys think this is? Let me know.
Well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender ideology, is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. Like, what is a woman?
Well,
can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Because it's not for me to say. Womanhood looks different for everybody.
What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female.
And what does a female mean?
Well,
how
that's
do you define a female?
someone with female reproductive organs.
Okay.
Someone who's, here's the thing. When you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies, we could dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were because it's ingrained in every fiber of their being.
Interesting. So I'm trying to understand. Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct. Is a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? Cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, but maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce. Maybe doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not myself.
You used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
that describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently. And so trans women are women too.
Okay.
And you want to hold on. You want to reduce.
You won't even tell me what the word means, though. So
you
that's
want to
the problem.
reduce women. You want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics, our genitals, our chromosomes, right? That's what you're saying.
What you want to do is
that's what
what you want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood.
Okay.
And turn it into basically a costume that could be worn. We've got it's real funny. It's real funny. It's real funny when you're
should look like. Right. As a man, you're literally saying this is what a woman is.
Yeah. Well,
isn't that a little sexist?
Because I am willing to define.